Hi everyone, welcome to week 5 of Management 422. We are now officially halfway through the semester. It is wild just how fast the weeks are flying by. So at this point, we're kind of at the midway point. We've gained a lot of information so far and a lot of knowledge about the workplace and about our employees' behaviors. So as a quick recap, we spent the first couple of weeks talking about organizational behavior as a science and the way in which we can use the scientific method to systematically study workplace phenomena. And we can use these results to help us implement evidence-based management. That means we're going to be more effective decision makers. We're going to be more likely to implement policies and practices that are supported by research, which will make them more effective for us. At the same time, we talked about two outcomes that we primarily care about, and that's job performance and organizational commitment. So at the end of the day, what we really care about is if our employees are going to perform and if our employees are going to stay. Because it's very expensive for organizations if our employees are not fulfilling their job responsibilities or they're engaging in counterproductive work behaviors, and very time intensive and resource intensive to constantly be hiring if you have employees turning over. So we've spent the last few weeks trying to identify factors that make a difference to performance and commitment. So what we've learned so far, we've examined job satisfaction, stress, and motivation. These are all sort of job level factors that we're able to identify and make changes to adapt if our employees are showing low levels of satisfaction or high levels of stress or low levels of motivation. So each of these topics has allowed us to see how we can make changes to the work environment or how we can make changes to the job environment to make things more satisfying, less stressful, and more motivating. By doing those things, you can see that we'll be increasing performance and reducing commitment. Hopefully one takeaway you got from that mid-semester review is that some of these factors make a big difference for performance and maybe not so much for commitment, while other factors have a big impact on commitment and not performance. For instance, when we talk about stress, hindrance stressors had a negative effect on performance, but the correlation was very low. But they had a strong negative correlation with commitment. That tells us that stress itself might not be impacting employees' performance to a great degree, but it's certainly going to affect whether or not they want to stay with our organization. So if we're starting to see a lot of turnover happening, one place to start might be by looking at the stressors that our employees are experiencing. Do they have a lot of daily hassles? Do they have a lot of role ambiguity, role conflict, role overload? What are some things we could do to help minimize those stressors that might make them want to stay with our organization? So again, we've kind of been focusing on some of these job-related factors. This week, we're moving into looking at people who are in power and authority in organizations. So we're talking about trust, justice, and ethics. And the focus is really on the people who make decisions in organizations. Are they trustworthy? Do our employees feel like they can trust those people? Are they clear and fair in their decision making? So are they transparent in the way they decide outcomes and decide promotions or raises? Are they open about how they go about distributing some of those outcomes? So as you'll see this week, when we are more trustworthy, when we are perceived as more fair, it has a trickle-down effect on how our employees perform and whether or not they want to stay with our organization. So this week you do get a little bit of a break. We only have one quiz and one discussion assignment. So it's an opportunity to take a little breather. You guys have been working really hard, and I appreciate all the efforts you're putting in this shortened 8-week format. So this is a strategic choice on my end, is to give you a little bit of a break. So we can't take a full week off. We just don't have the luxury of being able to take an entire week off. But you can kind of dial it back a little bit. Refocus, right? Dig deep and know that we only have a few weeks left. So this is really like our final stretch here for covering Management 422. And as a reminder, you can miss one quiz, one discussion, and one written assignment without it having an effect on your grade. So if you haven't yet missed one of those, you are able to miss one of those without it having a negative impact on the final grade. If you miss more than one, that's when you start to see a decrease in your overall grade. If you have any questions about your grades or about assignments, please let me know. You'll see that your grades are being updated in eCampus, and I am working steadily to get everything graded for you all. I know having timely grades is important. You all are doing double the work each week because of the shortened format, and I'm doing double the grading, and I'm certainly reading everything that you're writing and giving you feedback. I really try not to take points off of assignments unless I've actually given you an explanation for why. So you can go back and read my comments and understand why you've been assigned a certain grade, or if there were areas in which maybe you could have provided more explanation, or if something was described inaccurately. But go back and read those comments because they're part of your development as well, both as a student and as a professional. And of course, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. I can meet by Zoom. I can meet in my office. I'm here to support you and your efforts. And, overall, I think you guys are doing great. And I love your enthusiasm. I love your engagement. I love the questions you're asking in your weekly reflections. And I can tell that, you're finding the information enjoyable. So thank you for that. It's also more fun for me, right? When you're engaged, it's more fun for me too. So anything you need, don't hesitate to reach out, and look forward to being in touch with you all soon. Have a great week. Bye.